Everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hello, hello. Let's get those video on so I'm not all alone. Good morning, William, James, Desiree, Bonnie. Hey, there we go. Mr. Exclamation point. I can't tell. Is that just a background from like it is? Okay. Hey, there's William. What's up? What's up? So, question for you guys. I don't have the icebreaker question on here, but in July, what are some things that happened that you think prevented you from closing a deal? So maybe it was you didn't handle objection right and you missed out on another agent. Maybe you missed an opportunity that was kind of on the table. Like, what are some things that you just felt didn't quite help you when it came to closing deals in July, right? For me, I know that my first year of real estate, I didn't find out until my second year um, several messages that I had missed on Facebook, of all places. Um, and there was like 4 or 5 deals that I could have had from that. Not even kidding. So, you can imagine I was not too happy about that. So, what are some things that happened in July? What got in the way of you closing a deal? Like I said, maybe you forgot to follow up with someone when you said you would. Maybe you just didn't feel like you nailed the appointment, felt a little weak, felt a little off, and it went to another agent. Drop it in the chat. Let me know. I use this information, by the way, to help plan some of our classes too. Number two, Desiree says, number two on the screen, not as organized as I thought I was. Completely missed a voicemail recently and lost a deal. Yep. Uh, heavy. It's heavy. James says, number one, not knowing how to handle client objections. James, do you know what the objection was? Do you remember? Can you drop it in the chat? That is a great one to actually role play because that's actually one of the easy. That is a great one to actually role play because that's actually one of the easiest ones to solve, but it's one of the ones that most people get hesitant on. So we'll talk about that actually. At number one, we'll talk about that today. A good recap would be Nikki Pius's call that we did. That would be a great one. Let's see. We had one open house in July, but I'm done with them until it cools off. Ah, do they not have AC for you, Trina, in those houses? They're making you sit in the Arizona, right? Arizona heat. That's a death sentence. I laugh, but it's kind of true. Bonnie, congrats on closing a deal in July. Let's go. William, you said number two as well. A lot of struggles follow up, guys. Man. Well, today's recap is gonna hit home then. Let's go. It's a good thing you're here. Oh, it's 5 after. We gotta get going. You know me. I like to be mindful of our time. So today, if this is your first time coming to one of our monthly recap calls, which is the first Wednesday of every month, drop a first. Type first in the chat. I'm just curious who here this is your first time coming to one of our recap calls. Drop first in the chat if that is you. I think for some of you it might be. Yeah, I was just gonna say, Cynthia, welcome. Yep, first recall. Is that Dalen? Am I saying that right? Or is it Dolan like you ballin'? All right, so listen, this is how the recaps work. We do them once a month. They are different than our traditional weekly calls. Everybody else here can tell you that. have different Wednesday calls. So if this is your first recap call, what we do is that we teach so much and it's great stuff. We put a ton of work into it. But by the end of the month, leading into the next month, you forget about it. You forget, oh my gosh, I meant to go back and watch that replay. I meant to follow up with that script. I forgot that I can use that. So we do these recap calls on Wednesdays where I am very fast. Yes, it will be fast, and you probably can't keep up, but it'll be enough to trigger things in your brain and go, oh, that's the one that I need to revisit, right? And so we're going to blitz through recapping the 4 calls. Normally we only have 3, but July had 4 Wednesdays, so we're going to have to go very fast so that you can have a refresher and know to go back and watch the replays that are relevant to you. Everyone make sense? Give me a thumbs up if that made sense, and we're good to get going. Awesome. Remember, guys, turn on the video so I'm not alone. Speaking of that, 4 commitments of being on the call. This is what you're making today. Video on, unless you're doing something unsafe. This is a community of people, not blank screens. And just like with clients, you can't have your video off. You can't just show up with a paper bag. Distractions off. You guys are way too smart. There's no way you'd show up distracted. This is your time to be poured into. None of you paid a dime to be here. It is a gift. And to participate, this is very important. You know, we're going to be asking questions, we're going to be engaging, and you will get significantly more out of this call the more that you participate, the more that you ask questions. And there is no questions, guys, that are too small, especially on these calls. I usually, if we have time, we'll leave extra time, and you can ask questions about anything in real estate. And sometimes even in life, we just throw it in there, okay? And then the most important one is just go make someone else's day. Take something you learned today, remember today. Just go bless someone like you're being blessed right now. All right, so let's get into it. So mistake number 1 was not knowing how to handle client objections. And obviously the solution is just to use a simple breakdown to counter any objective. And that came from the one and only, the queen of objections, Nikki Pius herself. And I'm just curious, anybody here that was on that call? Just type yes in the chat if you were on the Nikki Pius call where we handled objections at the beginning of July. I think she was the first guest we had in July. William Lee. Was she not a baller? Friggin' Nikki is, like, you hear of people who are good at handling objections and stuff like that. And they're okay, right? Like, sometimes they're okay. But Nikki was like, let's go. Like, man, she was on it, guys. If you want someone who will get you fired up about miserable conversations and difficult objections, Nikki is the person for that. And so the quick breakdown of what Nikki taught was you need to buy time first, okay? You have to get them talking for at least 2 minutes. Statistically, if you can get them above 2 minutes in the conversation, you're going to have a much higher chance of winning the client. And obviously, is that not your goal? Winning the client? Okay? So you don't argue. You don't ask to ask. You just keep moving forward. Okay? And so, for example, before maybe someone says they're busy, maybe someone says that they don't have time. Okay? Most agents, right, they'll ask for permission to do more. But the problem is someone's already saying I'm defensive and I'm blocking you off. Doesn't really make sense to ask to ask. Instead, you've got to go for your shot, because here's the truth. Statistically, if you cannot get them a little bit farther on this call, you will probably lose them entirely. Well, Robert, what if I offend them? Most people will not actually be offended, and we'll talk more about that in Nikki's call of when to know to gracefully bow out. But it's in rare occurrences. So you're going to use objections like, okay, before I let you go. So it acknowledges them. Before I let you go, while I have you. These are important to keep it going. All right. And getting in engaging questions to get them talking is important. Right. And so you're going to follow that immediately with a question based on where you are in the call. If the call just started, it might be something like, what are you browsing for? That's an easy one. We can all do that. If you're deeper in the call, what's your ideal timeline? Now, remember, we have full breakdowns of all this in Nikki's call. She did so much role-playing on objections. People were shooting them at her, and she just crushed them. So that is a great call to recap. But the important part you need to remember is you wouldn't let anyone else leave her clients hanging, right? You would not accept a lender leaving them hanging, an inspector leaving them hanging. When you don't ask the right questions, you're letting themselves leave them hanging. Hopefully that made sense. In my head, it sounded better. Leave them themselves, leave them hanging. Don't do that, okay? Don't do that. So the next part of it was just you need to reframe the objection. Most objections aren't real. They're just reflexes. I want you guys to say that out loud, okay? Ready? Most objections aren't real. They're just reflexes. Okay? All right? That's very important for you to remember. They're just reflexes. It's not an indication of your character, and it's often not even a representation of where they are and what they really want. That's why you need to turn them around. Very important, okay? If they say, I'm not interested, okay? Anybody heard that before? I'm not interested, or the equivalent of it? Most of us shut down. We back off. That's a reflex. That is not an accurate representation of who they are. So you might say something like, thanks for telling me. Is that because you already found something, or are you putting it back on the back burner? Right? Yeah, the run. We handled that one. I believe in Nikki's call too. Yeah, it's a great one, right? But you see how you push past this? This is imperative because this is how the agent that you're like, how do they make so much more? They're in the same market than me, and they're like 10 times what I'm making. This is why they understand the truth and they pursue it at all costs, right? And guess what? Almost always they'll say back burner, right? And that's how you know it's an even deeper reflex because all of us, all people, even lazy ones, by the way, are overwhelmed. We're just constantly overwhelmed. I mean, there's very few people. Seriously, ask the next 100 people you talk to and really listen. You'll find that they are extremely overwhelmed by everything. Everything is just overwhelming. It's so polarizing. It's so hardcore. It's so crazy. You have to be that voice of reason who carries them through the storm. Right? All right. And when they say back burner, that is actually a green flag. That is permission to keep going. Okay. All right. Next part. So then you need to uncover what's actually stopping them, right? If they say they're waiting on something like rates, holidays, spouse, don't jump to solve it. Anybody guilty of that? You hear someone mention a problem and you're instantly like, wham, solution. Ask my wife how well that works. Not great, right? We got to get deeper. We got to get closer. Instantly trying to solve someone's problem often means you're solving the wrong thing, right? And that's why it doesn't work. There's a deeper thing going on. So instead, get deeper, understand more. Is there anything else besides that? Let's say it's rates that has you waiting right now. Oftentimes, their initial response, rates, is reflex. Remember? Reflex. Objections are typically reflex. So you're going to have to get past the reflexes to find out what their actual reason is. Very important. And you can repeat this process until you uncover everything. And then you confirm it with the tie down, right? So to clarify, if the holidays pass, your spouse is on board, and the house sells, you're ready to move. Is that right? Those are like, say, 3 things. You've got to tie that down. And this helps them. All you're doing is helping them process the chaos that's in their head. You're not telling them, right? You're not telling them that if the holidays pass, they'll be ready. You're not telling them if their spouse is on board, they'll be more apt to buy or sell. You're helping them process what's in their head because remember, we aren't taught this in schools, guys. We aren't taught this from our employers. So how else are they supposed to learn how to process these things? If you want to get paid, you've got to be able to help them process these thoughts. Okay? And this frames their path forward in their own words. And do we not all do better when we feel like we're the one who thought of the idea? When we think we're the ones in control? Come on now. We all have that bit of pride. Even people who are shy, they still feel that inside, right? Okay. And I believe this is the last part of Nikki's, and then we'll jump into the next one. Oh, no, wait. I think there's one more after this. So you need to know the difference between an objection and a condition. Okay. This is another big one. An objection is an opinion or hesitation. Does that make sense? An objection is an opinion of something. The rates are too high, the rates are too low, they might go down. Or it's a hesitation. I'm worried that the market might crash. I'm worried that this thing may happen. Right? Is that making sense? You guys follow me on that one? Okay. So you need to know the difference. So here's some examples of objections. We're waiting for interest rates to drop. We're too busy right now. That's an opinion, by the way. You might think, how is that an opinion? They're saying they're too busy. Would that not be an absolute thing? No, most people have no idea how they spend their time. They've never tried to organize their time. They've never had the guidance, the knowledge. That's like when your kid says, right? Hey, you need to clean your room. And they go, oh, it's just too much work. You're like, okay, like, yeah, sure, it feels that way. But we all know, can we all agree? We all know it's not too much work. They just need to be focused, right? Maybe a little organized, and they'll get it done. And they'll be glad. And we'll be glad, right? Same thing, right? How about we already have an agent? Most of the time, guys, that's not true. It's just a hesitation. It's just a hesitation. Very rarely do people actually have a signed agreement with an agent when they say that. Okay? And then conditions. Now, this is different, right? This is where you acknowledge and you follow up, right? Objections, we reframe and redirect and we keep moving forward. Conditions are acknowledged and follow up. Our lease isn't up for another 3 months. That's a condition. They have a legal obligation there, right? We legally can't sell until the divorce is finalized. Yeah, that's probably true. Right? We're waiting for a court approval on the sale of the home. Right? I have clients that I have a property listed with right now. They had a bunch of legal stuff they had to go through the court first before they could do anything. So I didn't push them. I just followed up. When they were ready, they were ready. Okay? All right. Be human, not a script bot. Guilty. Guilty. Right? So when someone says they're divorcing, right? Instead of trying to have this perfect way to handle that and still make money, be honest with them. I don't know if congratulations are in order or if I should be checking on you. So how are you doing right now? Is that not how we authentically feel when we're put in those awkward situations? Right? But for some reason, the world expects us and puts this pressure on us to always have the perfect response. Someone's having a bad day and we're supposed to automatically know how to react to that. We weren't prepared for that. Right? We're not therapists. We don't know. So just be honest, right? If William comes to me and he said his dad just passed away and he's a lead, man, I don't know William well enough. I'm going to be like, man, I'm really sorry you're going through that. I'm not really sure what I can do to support you, but I'm really sorry you're going through that. How are you doing? Instead of trying to be like, hey, William, well, listen, I know a great estate attorney who can just handle all the stuff with the property. Right? That's me trying to fix a problem. William didn't even tell me that was a problem yet. I've got to dig, and I've got to dig authentically, honestly with William. I've got to make sure he knows I'm genuinely just trying to figure out if I can be useful here. And sometimes that means, guys, we aren't. And we just need to acknowledge and follow up like we talked about. Okay? Hopefully all this is making sense. I know we're breezing through. Okay? If someone tells you they lost a spouse, you can say, I've never lost a spouse, unless you have. So I can't imagine. But if now isn't the time, right? Permission to them, respect to them. If now isn't the time for real estate, I get it. But if it would help to take something off your plate, I can help. You tell me what makes sense. Right? You feeling that? See how I'm actually a real person now? I'm going to Sunny and I'm meeting him where he's at. I'm not telling him that he has to have the solutions. I'm not telling him he has to make life changing decisions. I'm just telling him that to the best of my ability, I'm there and there's no pressure. It's not about me. A great example of this, I actually love this, is I watch a show called Welcome to Wrexham. It's a great, great documentary. Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney by one of the oldest football teams in the world, right? And in the middle of the game, someone has a heart attack in the stands and everything stops, right? Your match, of course, is you're playing on the field. But when they have that life-changing event, none of that other stuff matters. You've just got to be authentically present and real with them. Okay? Okay. People don't shut down because of your script. A lot of times you're sold stuff from people who just want to sell you stuff, that it's the script, right? That it's the script. If you just had this script, that's the one, right? They shut down because they don't feel heard, right? They shut down because they don't think you care. We don't like talking to people like that, right? In a marriage, what's the number one complaint typically with women, right? To their male spouses? They don't feel heard. They don't feel like the husband cares about their emotions, about their struggles, about the things they're going through, about their day, right? Each person is different. We want to be heard. Way men typically say that is they don't feel respected. It's still the same as not being heard. Heard means understood. Heard means met where they're at. It's what you've got to do. So you need to earn your way into the real conversation, and that just starts with making people feel heard. That's it. It's not actually that hard. Sometimes, I love this line, being human is the strategy. Okay, this is one of my favorite ones. All right, moving on. Remember, we have recaps, replays, everything. We got you covered. We'll drop the YouTube channel so you can just go watch all the replays. We'll hook you up real good. Mistake number 2 that we saw in July that crushed business. This was the most common one you guys put in the chat earlier, was failing to engage with leads in a way that keeps them coming back, aka follow up they care about, right? Obviously, the solution is connect with leads in a way they actually care about. Duh, right? And so the way that we did that, this is one of my favorite follow-ups because this can work in any market with any client type, and you can rinse and repeat. So you could have investors and you do the same strategies, just slightly tweaked. First-time home buyers, downsizers, just a local community. You could just have this segmented and rinse and repeat again and again. And that is the only email I'd send 2 leads if I had to choose just one. From Brandon Baca. He's an amazing guy. So it's sending local events your database will care about. And in that call, Brandon actually showed some examples and other alternative ones that he did. So you should definitely check out that one. Right? So the simple process of this is looking up 5 to 10 events happening in your area this month. That's easy. Most of you can do that with ChatGPT now. Used to have to, back in my day, we had to actually manually look up events or host them ourselves, right? But now ChatGPT can do a lot of this work for you. Go find 5 to 10 events happening in your area this month. Use your Chamber of Commerce, city or county websites, local social pages and Facebook groups, along with ChatGPT. You will have more than enough. Even in small communities, there's still usually more going on than you realize, right? Don't overthink it. Simple things like farmers markets, concerts, parades, school events even, back to school events, summer events when it was summer, right? Most people are going back to school. There's a lot of back to school events that happen, right? Don't overthink it. It doesn't have to be that Taylor Swift is coming to town. I know that all of you are Swifties. I can see it on your faces, okay? But it doesn't have to be that big. It can be much smaller, okay? And much less expensive. All right? Make it feel local, light, and easy to scan, easy to read. Some of you were on that call. Remember how simple Brandon's email was. It was short. It usually had about 1 image in it. If he used an image at all, right? Hit or miss. He talked about whether you should use images or not. He used Canva. Simple. He showed how he used Canva. It was incredibly simple. A lot of you overthink it. Too many different fonts, too many different images, too many different links, too many different things going on instead of just saying, what's an event to send someone? This is cool. All right. Why is it cool? Little blurb, send it out. Okay. So, one of the most overlooked things when people start sending emails, and by the way, even though we're talking about like a newsletter, sending events, right? This is very powerful in general for even getting clients to respond to emails. You've got to hook them. We always have to hook them. We tend to think that once someone starts working with us, we automatically rise to the top of priority. You follow me on that? Do you understand what I'm saying? They're working with me now. Therefore, I must be a higher priority in the life. I'm going to tell you something, okay? You're not. You're not. That's why they randomly back out on you. That's why they don't fill out paperwork. That's why they'll even take their time signing things that they should be signing immediately. And yet we still think that we're a high priority. We're not. So everything has to be framed the right way. You've got to get them to open the emails, right? So this is relevant even if you don't do events. But for the sake of events, you just need to write a subject line that gets it open. Doesn't matter how good the event is. If they don't open it, won't hit the mark. So you need to choose one of the most interesting or recognizable events as your hook, right? You need to build curiosity or connection using real, casual language. Okay, and here's a couple examples. Did you hear about Willie Nelson in your city, right? We'll say Murfreesboro this weekend. Did you hear about Willie Nelson in Murfreesboro this weekend? That's easy. You notice how I didn't say exactly what Willie Nelson was doing. We can assume, but assumptions make us want to confirm what we assume, right? So that's a good thing. This local event might just save your Saturday. I bet you that performs extremely well. Brandon said it performed extremely well for him. This event might just save your Saturday. Come on now. You know, people opening that one. All right. Your goal is to sound like a friend sending something worth checking out, not a marketer blasting content. And for a lot of you, you get that marketing hat on, and so you almost feel like you have to sound like a marketer. How many of you have seen posts? Attention first-time home buyers. Anybody see posts like that? Maybe some of you guilty of making them. Listen, that is, you could have just said, run away from me as fast as you can. By the way, that headline probably performed really well. But seriously, when you say, attention this, you sound like a screaming billboard in their face. Right? Don't do that. Follow these templates. Again, Brandon gave great examples you'll check out in the replay. All right, the next part is send the email. Too many of you are going to see these breakdowns, see these opportunities. So many of you said that this was a big area that you need to improve. Your follow-up and getting clients to engage in a meaningful way, right? That they actually want to talk to you. So some of you are going to see what you saw today and go, see what you saw today. Duh. So some of you are going to go check out the replay maybe. You might even type up the email, but many of you will still not hit send. That's the truth. But what happens if you don't hit send, guys? You suffer, your family suffers, and the client you could have been honoring and helping with your excellent service suffers. That's a whole bunch of unnecessary suffering. Hit send. Hit send. Okay? MailChimp is free, up to 500 contacts. For most of you, that will be a great place to start. Brandon highly recommended it, and he outperforms me in emails as well. Even though I do pretty good, he does better. So definitely I would encourage you, don't ask about all the other email services or your CRM. Just follow his process, trust him, right? Once you get good enough, you'll know how to tweak it and make it your own. Use MailChimp, free, up to 500, performs well. If you're tempted to use your CRM, let me convince you otherwise. They often don't even get delivered to the mailbox. Just so you guys know, they often don't, because CRMs are not designed to bypass the filters that Gmail has and things like that. And so you're sending out emails from your CRM thinking they're reaching them, and they are not. Okay. You can also send manually, but the problem is no engagement. You don't know if people opened it. You don't really know, and it takes a lot longer because you have to manually. So I would definitely encourage you to use a MailChimp service. You can generally, if you use a CRM, like download emails and then upload them into MailChimp. We've done that before. So I would use that. Keep the format simple. 5 to 10 events, short descriptions, links to learn more, and a quick note from you at the top. Again, examples in the replay. So if you're overthinking that or you're stressed out, oh my gosh, that seems like so much, don't worry. Sometimes Brandon only sends one email with one event. The most important thing is he does it, and he does it consistently, and he does it authentically. He tries his best. Okay? Send it once a month to start, then once every 2 weeks or even weekly. This is where you really want to get to, is weekly, as long as the value is there, though, because consistency beats perfection. Okay? And again, if you have questions and stuff, drop them in the chat. I will leave time. We're doing pretty good. I'm breezing through this, so we're doing pretty good. Wasting too much time on multiple lead gen avenues. This was a big one too. People getting overwhelmed, and seeing that has made your results fragmented, right? Trying lots of different things. And so one of the biggest things that is overlooked, and it's been overlooked since COVID, right? Which to me is still a year or two ago, but that's actually like what, 5 years ago now, 6 years ago. What was it? 2019 is where we really hit peak COVID, right? Jeez, that's almost 6 full years ago. Jeez. Okay. Yeah. So that's open houses, man. Open houses have gone to the dust. But here's the thing. I have brought repeated guests just over the last 6 months alone who are the top 1% in their area, and all of them do open houses consistently. All of them. Did you hear me? All of them. It's not the one guy who figured it out and cracked the code, or his market was just the optimal market. No, all of them. But they don't do it in the traditional way, right? So Cody closed over 100 deals just last year from open houses alone. They're just real quick. Allow yourself to fantasize for a moment. How much money, with your average commission right now, would 100 deals equate to? Drop it in the chat. I want to see those numbers. Most of you know what your average commission is, what you made on the last few deals, or just use the last deal. You made 5 grand, 10 grand, 15 grand. And then times that by 100. I want to see those numbers. I want you to just imagine for a moment. Woo! Those are some big numbers already. Look at that. Okay. Larry, yes. So the question was, if you had closed 100 deals in a year, how much would that mean? Right? Take your average commission, times it by 100. How many would they be? Now, guys, take a moment. Do it with me, okay? Close your eyes. I want you to envision what life would look like if you made that much money. What would change? Would the car you drive change? Would you pay off some debt? How would you feel? How would your family look at you? Would you get more time with family? Could you offer them more? Could you give them more? All right, open your eyes. Right? Would you like that? I'm guessing that that vision was a positive one, not a negative. I'm guessing you're not like, oh God, if I made $1 million, my life would be terrible. No. So don't overlook this, because this is so prominent right now and it is crushing it. Open houses. And Cody's strategy is so simple and it works so well, right? So the quick breakdown of that is you need to find an open house. You can choose a vacant home. Cody swears by vacant homes, so if you can grab them, that's even better. But if you can't, it's okay. but you're going to need to prepare your seller to leave the house and leave the house more than once a week for a couple hours. Okay. And we'll get more into what that means. So pick an average or slightly above average price. Slightly above average is typically the sweet spot because they're basically overqualified and has the largest buyer pool in your area. Make sense? Right? Most likely to have the highest turnout. Avoid below average. They're not qualified. They generally won't be able to afford the home. But also, when they're below average in that price point, there's usually more complicated things, more restrictions. And with your schedule and your time, right? For this strategy, that won't work. You can go into luxury, but typically you don't want to do luxury unless you're already established in that area. You've already got a consistent history in the luxury space, which for most agents, not even close. They maybe would have done one luxury deal, right? Okay, you're going to schedule multiple open houses back to back on the same property, Thursday through Sunday. That alone is way different, right? Can we all agree? Normally it's a couple hours on Saturday, maybe a couple hours on Sunday. But here's the thing, in life, what gets the most results? Inconsistency or consistency? It's not a trick question. We already know. Consistency. Duh. Yet somehow with open houses, we go, well, I'll do one time for this one property. Oh, nothing happened. Open houses don't work. What the heck? Of course it didn't work. You didn't do anything yet. You barely got started. You have to be consistent. And that's a big thing that these top producers do with open houses is they will do them consistently, right? And they will do it until the house is sold. So they will do open houses. Let me give you an example. They will pick up an open house. They will do it Thursday through Sunday until the house is sold, closed even. This is their lead gen magnet. They take it seriously. They do it consistently. Right? Okay? You need to plan at least 3 days ahead. Treat it like a job. It's very important. It is not a last minute thing. Last minute things typically will not produce the results you're looking for. You got to actually plan and put a little effort into it. The good news is we're not talking about money effort. We're talking about just light planning. We're talking about manual labor that produces results. Okay? Market it. So what does marketing mean? I mean, create a simple flyer with an address, photos, your info, and open house dates on a basic Canva template. That should not take you more than 5 to 10 minutes, okay? Canva makes it stupidly easy, okay? So don't overthink that part. It is not the flyer that sells. Post it on your business page, personal page, local groups, anywhere you can get this information out, get it out to. A great way is also to create an event on, like, say, Facebook, so you can invite all your friends on Facebook. Okay. You can also send personal invites on social media and to your network. The goal is that you need to pack this house. You want people there in person. Okay. And then from there, this is the one that most agents are unwilling to do. Door knocking and cold calling. We all get really afraid about it. And I actually agree with most of you, the fear of it. I get it. The difference with doing it with open houses is that you're actually inviting them to something that most people are curious and care about. So you should feel if you've ever been hesitant about door knocking, cold calling, this is one of the best ways to ease into it because it's an invitation. You have nothing to sell them. You have nothing to sell them. You are not a door-to-door salesman selling an alarm system or solar panels. You're literally giving them something they care about. Hey, your neighbor's doing something. We're all nosy, guys. Come on now. Your neighbor's doing something. You might want to look at it. That's essentially what we're saying. I know you're curious, Nicole. I know you're curious what your neighbor's doing. That's essentially what we're playing on because that's human nature. We are curious. We might have never even talked to them, but we're still curious. Right? So Cody dropped his script in that, and then we'll Misa, what we can do is put that in the description of the video. I realize we probably didn't put that in the replay video. So let's drop that script in the replay video. It's also in our Facebook group, which is totally free as well. We have that there. So, yeah, you're going to use Cody's script to invite neighbors, practice until it feels natural. And by the way, last week I taught about role-playing, and I think that's the fourth next slide about the perfect role play partner. So this is even better. Aim for 200 door knocks and 500 cold calls around the property each week to generate 30 to 50 real estate conversations. And from there, that should generate between 5 to 10 appointments. And from there, that should generate 1 to 4 new listings and maybe a couple buyers a week. You guys hear that? A week. Remember those 100 deals? Do the math, right? Cody's math checks out when you start to do that together, right? And then this compounds, by the way, because referrals, repeat business. Okay. Cody's only been in the business for 3 years, guys. 3 years. His first year, he sold 8. His second year, he sold 60. His third year, he sold 100. And year to date, I believe he's already on this year 120 or 30 closed properties. Not bad. Notice how he's not spending millions of dollars on leads, right? By the way, he's on a team. The team does not give him leads. He goes and does the open houses. He follows this exact strategy. It's what works. It's what he teaches too. And every agent he teaches that follows this, guess what happens to them, guys? They miraculously make money. What? All right. So you need to be ready with 2 responses to your opening questions and handle whatever comes up. There's always going to be 1 to 2 initial reflexes, like we taught, where you're door knocking and cold calling. Very easy to handle. Oh, look at that. We just dropped that script. You can take it. Okay. And then go live. So when you're at the open houses, go live on social media while you're setting up. Show you're there and invite viewers. Keep it about them. You can just do it through the setup. I typically don't go live while I'm actually at the open house because you should be very proactive in talking to people. Okay. Speaking of that, greet people outside. Yes, meet them outside. Get them warmed up and ready before they ever step foot in the home. Okay. Comment on out-of-state license plates or where they're from. Ask 5 key questions about who they are, what they do, and who the home is for. It's not hard to do. It's just that you're afraid. That's all it is. It's not hard to do to see a car pulling up, to go outside, and to greet someone. Come on now. Talking to strangers is like everything. We build our businesses off of this. And yet we keep trying to convince ourselves we can't do that. Right? Focus on their wants, their needs, and their hobbies. Only talk about the house if they ask, and then pivot right back to them. Sometimes what happens is we start really good, right? We start talking to them. We're like, hey, Desiree, tell me about this, right? And we're talking to them. And then Desiree goes, so what's the price of the home again? And then we don't shut up. We go on and on about the home. We try to make them sign right there. We don't even know what the offer is, but we're like shoving papers in their face. We just info dump on them. No, I'm going to answer real quick, right? $329.99. So tell me again, how many kids did you have? I'm going to bring it right back to her. Okay? It's very important. We've got to keep the focus on her. Okay? And then again, share your live as you do this stuff. Let's see. Yeah, that's a great replay. I mean, all of our replays are great. I feel like I say that every time. Every time we do these recaps, I'm always like, you should definitely check out that one and that one. I only bring you the best people, guys. I vet them so much, too. You have the best people ever, and they come in and coach for free, and then they do the replays and everything. So, all right, the last mistake that we saw in July, and then we'll get to Q&A. This is one of my personal favorites. I actually taught this class because most of y'all are too tense. You're not warmed up, right? Now, would you all agree that you are professionals? Can I get some head nods? Yes, I'm a professional. Say it out loud. I'm a professional. Okay. Now, I want you to watch a professional athlete. Before they step out on the field, what are they doing? I'm going to give you a hint. Yep. Come on now. What are they doing? They're stretching. They're warming up. Do they go out there just straight from the locker room and just start facing the other team? No, they warm up. They prepare before they ever step out into the field to perform. For most of you, there's zero preparation. And then you wonder why the conversations are awkward, you weren't prepared, you sounded like a robot, whatever. That's not an insult. What happens is that role playing is actually kind of logistically hard. I was taught to role play too. Guess what? Nobody would role play with me. Then when I finally got someone to role play with me, they weren't that good at it. Right? They weren't able to mimic the personalities of the people I was facing. They weren't good at handling objections. Maybe they didn't have good feedback. It's a lot of work to get a good role play partner. But here's the good news. That has changed. Bonnie knows. Right? How to practice tough listing. We focused on listings, but this works for all conversations, by the way. Without a script, a partner, or the awkwardness. Okay? So, use ChatGPT. If you you can do a little bit on the free version, but if you do the $20 a month one for ChatGPT, you can actually have a voice conversation where it will talk to you in a voice and you can talk to it back and have a real conversation. I do this, by the way, so I'm living proof of this. This is part of why I teach it. It works extremely well, and these things are only getting better with time too. Okay? You need to use a prompt though. You need to set it up. So what you can do, we'll have this prompt. We'll put that in the replay as well. Maybe we'll drop it in the chat. But there's a prompt, and you can tweak it to give information about the property. Say you're trying to role play for a listing, right? Listing appointment. You can give the information you have about the property, and then you can make it have a personality. You can turn around and say, I want you to be someone who doesn't really trust agents, is very skeptical of everything they say, and had a bad experience prior. And they will role play with you like that. So you can actually role play as close as possible to the personality type and situation that you're in. You guys follow that? How powerful that actually is? Think about how much more calm and prepared you will be when I step into the listing appointment with James, and I've basically already talked to James 20 times. I've basically went through this scenario 20 times. And so then when James comes with me, he's cold, he's stern, he's skeptical of my value. I'm like, this is exactly what I expected. Piece of cake. I ain't worried. I've been through this. I'm warmed up. I'm ready to go. Most of you guys, that tension that you have, it's your brain telling you, hey, you didn't prepare for this. Okay? Take that in for a minute. Most of the time, when you're afraid of something, it's your brain saying you're unprepared. Right? Ever talk to a parent who was like, had an unexpected child? I wasn't ready. I was not prepared. Right? Right? All right. Let's keep going. So you're going to paste that prompt. We just dropped it in the chat for you. And put in an AI chat. I personally would use ChatGPT. I think it's still one of the better ones and also cost effective. Okay. Before running the prompt, you update it with the details about your upcoming listing, the seller's name, home size, price expectations, timeline. You can put all the details, right? You can even put specific objections. Maybe they've texted you some objections already. Maybe, right? Maybe for Cynthia, she's been texting them, and then they've said hints of they don't really want to pay the full commission. Maybe they've said that they're going to talk to other agents. Don't you think you need to be able to handle those objections? You can have the role play eventually ask those objections through the process, right? Wait, what just happened? Oh, I opened up the script. I forgot I had the link in here. So you can add the seller's personality type, their typical objections, if you already know them. Maybe you can even add things like what they want, right? They need to move fast. You need to be able to articulate, wow, how you can help make that happen, right? You know in your head, you've got the information, but how you communicate it is where most of you will fumble, right? The more specific you are with the AI, the better its responses will be, okay? All right, so now, role play the conversation. That's next. Let AI take on the role of your seller and respond just as you would in real life. You can actually talk to it. I even had it, I brought it up in the call and I showed you guys how it worked. So you knew it was real. Asking about the home, upgrades, past issues. Here's what's crazy, right? Pop in some headphones, right, that you can talk to. Okay. Walk around the house as if you're walking around the house with them. Sit at the table as if you're sitting at the table right across from them. Get yourself into the atmosphere. Get yourself into, if you will, character. Okay? Be that pro. It'll change your life. I promise you. It'll change your life just practicing this. Work through the objections and curveballs, right? And this is a safe place. This is what's nice. It's just AI. You don't have to be embarrassed. You don't have to be awkward. You can do terrible. And there's nobody to judge you until AI takes over. But it's fine. That won't be the reason why. Okay? And like I said, use the voice mode. Don't try to do this by text. It's just not going to work. Use the voice mode. Actually get yourself vocalizing the things out loud. So, William, that's a good part. I think we have that in there. Reflect and refine. So after each session, review the conversation and note where you stumbled or felt unsure. You can ask ChatGPT, okay, hey, rate me. What's even better is you can have it compare it to Ricky Carruth, Grant Cardone. Maybe you don't like Grant Cardone's style. I don't, personally. Not saying he's bad, but, right? See, the Ron does. We have people that we resonate with. And so the Ron might be like, hey, rate how I did compared to Grant Cardone and suggest improvements based on his style. And it will go and say, well, in this situation, Grant Cardone actually would have probably said something like this. So now you don't have to go join Grant Cardone's program. Sorry, Grant Cardone. You don't have to join his program, spend $100K, all the hours doing the research, watching the videos, then hiring a coach who specializes in Grant Cardone's style to then coach you and work through it. Now, I'm not saying those aren't valuable investments. What I'm saying is you can do a lot more to make those investments hit home, right? You can make them a home run by being warmed up and ready for them, right? Okay. Try alternative phrasing or strategies. AI can give you suggestions, strengthen your answers. It's amazing. And then save any useful scripts or phrases that resonate with you and incorporate them into your own style as you go. So you'll learn later how to make it sound more like you. What's even more neat is that as you go through this process, you can just keep replicating the process. You can keep doing this again and again and making it better. Then you'll have a way to do this for sale by owners, right? And every type of segment. And so you will become a pro when you're talking to a downsizer, for sale by owner, a veteran, right? All of the different demographics, you'll be expertly. Maybe they're a high D. So like when I got started early, I was at Keller Williams and they give you a ton of information. And if I'm being honest, it was just way too much. I just needed to know how to make money first, and then you can trickle in all the other stuff, okay? One of the things they pushed really hard there was the disc profile. Now, I understand why. It's very smart to know how to deal with different personality types. But here's the problem I ran into, and maybe you guys can relate, okay? Tell me if you can relate to this. I could not remember all of the details on how to handle the disc profiles. They're a high D. Okay, yeah, okay. So that means they're a little more direct, a little more aggressive. How does that work in this conversation where I'm inviting them to an open house? You guys follow me, right? Anybody feel that? So you kind of know, but then at the end of the day, it's really hard to apply that into the specific scenario in. But I can just go in here and just tell them the personality traits. I'm going to go do door knocking. I'm nervous about it. I want you to role play as someone who just worked the graveyard shift and I woke them up from my door knocking. Let's role play that. Because here's the thing, you will feel better and you will feel so much more confident when you work through that and then it actually happens. You're going to be like, I know what to do. Is it still going to be awkward? Duh. But you're not going to be afraid anymore. You're going to be able to address what is reality. This is awkward, but I know what to do here. Right? You follow me, guys? You seeing the value of this and how imperative it is? Okay. Schedule brief sessions each week. And to be honest, what I would tell you guys to do, just like a professional does, is warm up every day. Before you start your legion and your calls, just do 10 to 15 minutes of role play. Let me give you an example of how that might look. You might go and say, okay, I'm doing 300 uh, cold calls today, and they're to for sale by owners, or I'm inviting people to open house. Great. Go warm up 10 to 15 minutes, role play through it. Okay. And that's the end, guys. We did it. Woo! With four, man. Normally we have longer for Q&A, but we had that fourth Wednesday. It really sucked in another 15, 20 minutes. All right. How was it? Bring you some value, guys? Help you at all? It was a good recap. Now you know, go to my YouTube channel. Misa will drop it in the chat. All the replays are there under the live tab, and they're all free, and they're filled with resources for you, and may it bless you. Anybody have last minute questions? I have 3-4 minutes left for you before I go. So any questions, comments, concerns, feedback? Just let me know. If you have questions, do the little raised hand symbol, and I'll ask you to unmute and you can ask the question. Or you can drop them in the chat too if you prefer to type them. That's fine too. All right, James, let's do this. Ask to unmute. There you go. All right, you got?
Sure. Can you show me how to do the I guess it was I'm not sure how you describe it. You was talking to the chat GPT.
Correct. Voice
How
mode.
you activated that? I kind of missed that part.
Yeah. So voice mode. If you go watch
Voice
the
mode.
replay, at the towards the end of the replay, I do a
Okay.
demo. It's very easy too. And if you stick around for another minute or two, just to make sure nobody else has questions, I'll show you live. I'm happy to do that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I got you. All right. Anybody else? Nicole, I'm so happy you could join this call too. Thank you for being here. Thank you for anybody who's a first timer. Sunny, let's go. What you got? Oh, can't hear you for some reason, even though it says you're unmuted. Might be your headphones.
Is that better?
Yes.
Is that better? Okay. So on the open houses, okay. Eventually, if you're doing Thursday through Sunday, you're gonna have a lot of buyers that start adding up in the pipeline. Now they start showing and stuff. So are there times where, like, if you're scheduling it like 3 days in advance, you may have to like say like, hey, open house canceled or something if like one of the buyers is trying to go, because eventually you're going to have a lot of people to work with if you're doing over 100 deals. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I think what you're asking is, when I start getting a lot of activity and I'm working with buyers and I have showings to do, appointments to do, things
Can't hear
like
you.
that, do I start canceling some of these open houses because I'll need that time to go do the service those clients? Is that what I'm understanding? Hopefully. Sonny's having a hard time at the coffee shop. With all the coffees you spent there, bro, they need to upgrade their internet. All right, I'm going to assume that's what he meant, okay? I'm going to assume that's what he meant. So this is a common problem that all of you will face in your business, which is, I'm doing the work, I'm actually being consistent, now I'm getting results, now I'm too busy to do the work that got me there. That's essentially what many of us do. If open houses are your lead gen, then open houses are what you do, and you do not ever compromise that. It's your job, okay? It's your job. You got to keep going. Yeah, he was having audio issues. Good thing he has the replay, right? So you guys have to make sure, right? I had someone the other day go, oh, I didn't do my lead gen. I didn't do much lead gen last week. I had a lot of appointments. Well, he's about to have a lot less appointments now. I'm glad he had appointments. But guys, we work every day, and we do lead gen every day and follow up every day, and we service our contracts for our clients every day. That's our job. Could you imagine Starbucks is like, we had a great week, guys. Next week, we're not making any coffee. That'd be ridiculous. Wouldn't that be ridiculous? Why? Because then guess what? Next week, they're not making any sales. Right? You have to do the non-negotiables. And if open houses are your non-negotiables on how you generate money for your business, then you do those. The only time you cancel them is when it's an emergency, right? Something changes about the house that would make it not relevant. And I'm not talking about going under contract. I'm talking about like the sellers say, I don't want you to do an open house anymore. It's their house, their rules, right? Okay, something like that. Otherwise, you have to, because that is how you build a consistent business, is every day you go and do the tiring, monotonous tasks that it takes to succeed, right? Just because, remember professionals, just because a professional athlete has one good match, do they stop going to practice? Do they stop doing the training, the stretching, the diet, all the effort? No. It doesn't matter what, win or lose, they do those things. Right? Same goes for you. Win or lose, busy or not, you do your lead gen, you protect that. Right? Unless those buyers are all about to hand you $1 million each and you're going to retire, you do the lead gen. That means the open houses. Okay? All right. I'll give you 2 more minutes. If anybody's got any last minute questions or feedback or anything like that, I'm happy to share. If not, James, I'll show you the quick voice mode thing. Happy to do it now too. But anybody got any last minute questions? Don't be shy if you do. And if not, it's okay. I'm not pressuring you. All right, I'm going to assume not. So I'm going to share my screen real quick just to show James how you quickly activate the voice mode. For everybody else, feel free to take off, have a blast, have some fun, get into our voice, subscribe on our voice, get into the Agent Alliance Facebook group, subscribe to the YouTube channel, watch all the replays, and just go make lots of money and bless people. All right, James, I'm going to share my screen and show you real quick. It's so easy. You're going to be like, oh, yeah, that's how I do it. Okay, ready? So this is what it looks like when you sign into ChatGPT. And then this little icon, use voice mode. That's it. It'll pop up like this. Obviously, my mic's being used, so it's not going to work the right way because I'm using on Zoom. But it'll start talking. And that's how you do it. That easy. Yeah. Super, super easy, right? But it's easy to overlook if you're not looking for it, right? If you're not used to looking for a voice mode, which why would you? It's easy to overlook. So, yeah. Let me know how it goes, James. I'm curious. I love using voice mode now. I can't get my wife to do it. She still thinks it's weird talking to the computer. I said, I don't know, even if it is weird. It's kind of the point, though, right? Getting through the awkwardness and working it through. All right, guys, I appreciate you. Thanks for being here, and looking forward to hearing the results. Oh, yeah, John, sure. One more question. You want me to unmute you? Here, I'll unmute you, and you can ask that question. There you go.
Hey, thanks very much. I apologize. I started watching the webinar a few minutes into it, so you may have already said this, but I did see what you showed, James, about once you're in ChatGPT, how to enable voice mode, but I didn't see how to get into ChatGPT.
Okay, so that one is literally as simple as you're going to go to ChatGPT. I think it's actually, it might be chatgpt.com.
Okay.
I don't actually know. Let me go prove that in a different browser because I'm obviously already logged in. Yeah, okay. Chatgpt.com. Just like that. Dropped it in the chat. And they don't even make you sign in, but you can sign up and use like your Google account. So very quick and easy. And then you'll see the same exact screen that I just shared with you all.
Very good. And the free version, before you pay the $20 a month, can you do conversation or you have to do text?
Someone went and looked that up, and I think they said you get 15 minutes a month. Trying to figure out 15 minutes a month on it.
Yeah.
But the paid version is $20 a month.
Right.
So it's extremely low. Okay, look, it says voice mode. Try voice mode for free. Okay, I'm testing it right now. Yes, you can.
Wow. Okay. So even though it's even $20 a month, we're talking 67 cents a day, right? So
yeah, like that's wow. You're fast on math.
Yeah, that's kind of you to say. Well, so this has been great. Thank you very much. and I will definitely go try it.
I can't wait to hear results. Drop them in the Facebook group for me, our Agent Alliance Facebook group. It's free, and I'd love to know how it's going. You can also, if you run into problems or something, I actually have an AI company, so I'm very well versed in AI. So maybe there's some issues you might run into. Oh, this prompt's not working, and maybe I can actually help you just answer those questions. I always tell everybody, drop the questions. I'll give you all the answers I have, and because I have a background in real estate, I know how to apply it to real estate. I was in real estate before I was doing anything in AI. So, yeah.
So this is sort of an awkward question, but so this webinar has been very helpful. I'm going to go use ChatGPT. That's not your product. How do you get paid?
I don't. There's nothing for me to. There's no affiliate. I've tried to be an affiliate. They don't have an affiliate program at ChatGPT. If it did, I'd probably make a lot of money. Yeah, I don't have any courses to sell you. I don't have any programs. I've been blessed. God has given me a great life in real estate that I definitely don't deserve. And as a Christian, I believe in paying that forward and blessing others. And so I've been doing this for years now, just giving as much as I can away for free.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know. I know. I mean, listen, if I had something, where's the pitch? It's not there. You'll join the Facebook group. You won't see me posting about anything to sell you on. I don't sell coaching either. Like, I don't have anything.
Wow, that's refreshing. I hope you feel like it's working out well for you.
Well, it's kind of like volunteering, right? It's not about what you get, it's what you give. And so as long as I can give something, then I have gotten what I was looking for, which is the ability to give something to others.
Sweet. Excellent. Well, I
How I
still want
feel
to
about when
value
I
your
started making
time.
lots of money too. When I started making lots of money in real estate, I was poor my whole life, and even homeless at one point. And so,
Yikes.
like, I never had money to give to people who needed money, right? And so then when I started being successful in real estate and had money, it was like the reward was the fact that I finally had money to give to others.
Right.
Like, that was the awesome experience. That's why I like making lots of money.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. It increases possibilities for
that's
sure.
right.
So,
That's
well,
right.
I want to value your time. This has been great. I won't keep you, but I'm going to follow up on your suggestions. Thank you so much.
Looking forward to it.
All right. Take care.
Bye.